Now we have information, and we've already known, as long as you don't read the media and do your own analysis, you already know a lot of what I'm telling you. So you probably already know that Obama is as key to figuring out what went on in terms of the illegal and illicit targeting of Donald Trump as any other official. And along those lines, Charles Grassley and I think Lindsey Graham released an email, as I call it, the "We're Not Crooks" email, written by Susan Rice, Obama's corrupt national security advisor, at 12:15 on the day President Trump was inaugurated. I think it was written even after he was sworn in as president. And she wrote this "We're Not Crooks" email that is obviously cover for misconduct by the president, James Comey, Joe Biden, and others. And the letter, and I'm going to read you in large part the email because I think it's important that we get it on the record, because you're not going to hear about this from the major media. Susan Rice wrote this to herself, an email to herself about a meeting that took place on January 5th. She wrote it 2 weeks later. So that's a weird way to memorialize a meeting, don't you think? Well, you'll see why it's such a scam of an email. On January 5th, following a briefing by IC leadership, intelligence community leadership, on Russia hacking during the 2016 presidential election, let me put my glasses on so I can look at it from a distance. President Obama had a brief follow-on conversation with FBI Director Jim Comey and Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates. Remember Sally Yates? In the Oval Office. Vice President Biden and I were also present. President Obama began the conversation by stressing his continued commitment to ensuring that every aspect of this issue is handled by intelligence and law enforcement communities, quote, by the book. The president stressed he's not asking about initiating or instructing anything from a law enforcement perspective. He reiterated that our law enforcement team needs to proceed as it normally would, by the book. Do you believe that? I would read that paragraph to mean, to document the exact opposite, that President Obama was manipulating the process with his cronies, Jim Comey, Sally Yates, Joe Biden, and Susan Rice, as it relates to Russia involvement in our elections, and more specifically, the targeting of President Trump. Because from a national security perspective, the email goes on, however, President Obama said he wants to be sure that as we engage with the incoming team, we are mindful to ascertain if there are any reason that we cannot share information fully as it relates to Russia. The president asked Comey to inform him if anything changes in the next few weeks that should affect how we share classified information with the incoming team. Comey said he would. Why would Rice write that email 2.5 weeks later, but then the cover there, you know what's? Further confirmation that President Obama needs to be investigated about the dossier. Because you can bet, because he was briefed on all things Russia, just as this email admits, that he was briefed on the dossier and its origins. Everyone else in the agency knew what its origins were, who were senior. Why wouldn't Obama have been briefed? His Democratic National Committee paid for it. Why wouldn't he have known? And then he's telling his people not to tell the incoming president intelligence information he has a right to. Obviously because he hated Trump. The whole superstructure of the Russia collusion investigation is so compromised, if it doesn't collapse on its own weight of corruption, then someone needs to step in and bring it down and stop it. When you have Susan Rice, again, as I said, the corrupt Susan Rice, she was lying about unmasking, said it wasn't happening, and then admitted that it was happening. Remember that? She was the Benghazi, putting out the Benghazi lies on behalf of Hillary Clinton and President Obama, blaming it on an internet video when she knew otherwise. Judicial Watch exposed that, not Congress, not the media. Judicial Watch exposed that the White House knew it was a lie, yet they told Susan Rice to go out and say otherwise. And then Judicial Watch exposed that the unmasking materials that are indirectly part of this Russia, well, directly, I think, part of this Russia collusion scandal are over at the Obama Presidential Library. Because we asked about Susan Rice unmasking material to the National Security Council, and they said, go ask the Presidential Library of Barack Obama. He has it all now. So now we've got Susan Rice in a CYA memo implicating the president, then President of the United States, in Watergate manipulation of intelligence gathering and targeting of his successor. So I hope Congress is bringing in all these people to talk about Russia collusion. Steve Bannon was in there last week. Mueller's been interviewing people. Is Congress going to interview President Obama, or at least ask him questions? Joe Biden? I think you know the answer to that. But we're out there asking questions, and that's why we're in court suing time and time again to get access to the information. We want the underlying FISA applications material. These are the warrants used or obtained as a result of using this Clinton DNC dossier. We're asking for the unmasking records. We have this new lawsuit, as I talked to you about, but we also have other lawsuits about that as well.